Welcome to the Everything Coworking podcast. This is your host, Jamie Russo. Thank you for being with me today. Okay, so it's been a couple of weeks since I have posted an episode. We have been super busy. So it is mail month. We're extending mail month into May, but we're calling it the May Mail Money Maker Challenge because that is a great alliteration. So we are we publish our podcast every week, mostly, because we want to help you operate better businesses. We want to keep you up to speed on what's going on in the industry. But you know what? Mostly, I want you to have a profitable business. You may have gotten into this business because you're really passionate about community, delivering something unique to your community, creating community, building community, having an impact, all those things. You can't do that if you're not profitable or if you don't have a comfortable enough margin to feed your family, pay for gymnastics, pay for soccer club, all the things. So, we're going to be focusing a bit more heavily on content and programs that can help you generate revenue. So, the easiest one to start with is virtual mailboxes. So, we're going to do a series to help introduce you to why people buy virtual mailboxes, how they work, how much money you can make on them, who is having a lot of success with this as a revenue stream, and more. So if you are interested, we're going to tell you about the program that we're running over the next couple of months to help you get up and running and making money on virtual mailboxes. So let me dive in. First, I'm going to mention if your community manager is in our community manager program, it is mail month for them too. So we already had our live training for the month, and so a couple things happening there. We really focused our live training on what the group was interested in talking about, and we kind of hit a range of topics in mail. We have also just updated our mail training. And so they have access on how to launch a mail program, and we keep that group really up to date on the CMRA regulations and the changes that are happening there. And of course, they can ask any questions and we answer them right away. So your community manager can get a lot of support in that group and you can join anytime. That being said, what I acknowledge about the community manager group is that many of them don't have the authority to make some of the changes that we recommend that are more strategic. Like they don't have the authority to start a mail program if you don't have one yet. They don't have the authority to change your website. They don't have the authority to change your packages and your pricing. So we want to get you, the owners, involved in those decisions. So that's what the program is going to be about, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Okay, so I think one thing that so there's probably two groups of you listening. Some of you already have a mail program, and some of you have not started one because you don't believe in it. You don't know how to get started. It feels overwhelming. What's a CMRA? What's a 1583 form? All those things. And some of you, so the getting started group is what this is really going to be more focused on. And the folks who have a program, I can tell you that I have been auditing websites because when I do training, I always look for real life examples for best practices. And every single website that I hit had room for improvement that I guarantee you would give you a higher conversion rate. I also know that many of you are not going all in on mail because it feels distracting. Maybe your team doesn't like it because it takes time to process. You're struggling with how to keep your team, focused on your pipeline, sales funnel, making sure you fill the space, etc. I totally get that. We're going to address that. So I actually might talk for those of you who are going to tune out because you already have a mail program and may totally understand how it works. Let me tell you about the program we're running, and then I'm going to dive into why mail, why people buy it, and why it can be important for your business, even if you're in a small market, by the way. You would be very surprised. We have a startup school student who's been trying to figure out how to start a mail program. And she's actually, helped reinforce some of the things that I know folks get confused about. It can be very overwhelming to figure out, what forms do I need? How do I assign mailbox numbers? How is this going to work? She's in a pretty small market and she got a giant lead of 3K a month already for mail. And all she needs to do is get it set up. And it came from a referral partner. So this is an opportunity, even if you're in a smaller market. And it's always worth testing. So on the next episode, I'm going to do a walkthrough of what's possible in terms of revenue and profit for mail. And I'm going to assume that you're going to hire external staff, which we're going to help with in our challenge once you get to a certain volume of mail and your team is done processing mail. So, okay, here we go. Let me tell you about the challenge really quickly. So you have to enroll by May 12th. Let me check and make sure that's the right date because I think we said May 15th and that is not going to work. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to say May 12th, which is a Sunday because we need to enroll you on Monday because everything's going to really kick off on Wednesday, the 15th. So you have a little bit of time to decide, but we needed to decide in like the next week. So this is a challenge and it's for owners. You can send a GM, but it has to be somebody with authority to make decisions about what you're selling, pricing, changing your website, and signing up with referral partners. So this is to make you money. It's not informational. So you can't send a team member who can't get these things done. So this program is really for the folks who you've had this on your list or through this series, you come to believe, okay, yeah, I need to get a mail program up and running, and you want to make it happen in the next 60 or so days. So we're going to run a series of quarterly revenue building programs for owners, and we're starting with mail. And again, we gave it a fun name. It's called the May Mail Money Maker Challenge. There will be prizes, and we're going to have to-dos for you to do every single week, although we're going to give you plenty of time to get through this because I know there will be resistance to those of you who are busy, who don't have time to do something every single week. So it's going to be totally doable, but you're going to get it done by the end of June. So we're going to get your mail program up and running, and we're going to spoon feed you every single thing that we can. We're going to do audits of your sales funnel for your mail. We're going to look at your pricing. We're going to make sure the workflow makes sense because, as I mentioned, even for those of you who already have a program, as I look through examples on websites, even multi-site operators have some pretty significant room for improvement in their workflow. So we're going to do audits for you. So what does this look like? We're sharing this info on our email list. So I'll put a link for you to sign up on our email list in the show notes. So you can pull that up right here on your phone, just kind of expand the episode, or you can go to our website and grab the show notes. Okay, so we're looking to make you money, and we're going to talk about how much money you can make in the next episode of this. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're going to help you go through step by step. If you aren't a CMRA yet, a commercial mail receiving agency, we're going to help you get through that. We're going to help you define or refine what you're selling. And I guarantee you, you have not considered the possibilities of the packages that you could sell so that you're not only selling basic mail services. So we're going to help make sure you have the right product for you. We're going to make some recommendations. You can pick whatever you want, but we're always going to provide a recommendation so that you can take it and run with it if you want to do that as your first iteration and make this as easy as possible. We're going to help you set or update your pricing. Again, I think your mind would be pretty blown. We have operators who are selling virtual packages for $329 a month. That's well above what most of you are selling a full-time co-working membership for, right? That's pretty incredible. And guess what? A mailing address is really freaking sticky. So it's hard to change a mailing address. So the LTV of mail customers, high-end mail customers, I'm not talking about $9.99 a month here, high-end mail customers, is long. So this could have a real impact on your business. And so if you have not considered the possibilities, and we're going to talk about what those packages, might look like, then this is for you. So just imagine what you might accomplish if you went from charging, $29 a month and offering packages that are up to $329 a month. We have folks in our community manager program who are selling these packages. So we covered that on our last call. We are going to help you sell more memberships. 99%, as I have mentioned, of the websites that I audit are under earning on your mail services because you're not optimizing organic sales channels or you're not optimizing referral partners. So we're going to help you understand both of those, and we're going to make recommendations specific to your website. So this is a pretty high touch program. We're going to make sure your sales funnel is optimized. It's really hard to read the label from inside the bottle, right? I have that problem. I work with coaches who, I'll have incredible, epiphanies sometimes when they see something that's right in front of me that I just wasn't seeing. It's very hard. And so you might say, my mail workflow is totally fine. And then I look at it and can find 6 things that, could increase your conversion pretty quickly. So we're going to do that. We're going to show up with fresh eyes and audit your sales funnel from top to bottom and give you a list of what you can update. And then we'll help you simplify and document your SOPs so that your team can operate this, or you can hire a very part-time person to manage your mail. So I totally get it. Some of you are like, look, this is not a good use of time for my team. I want them selling offices, especially if you're newer and you have a space to fill up. Then you don't want them to use their time for that. So we're going to show you, we're going to give you templates for outsourcing this. And we're going to walk you through the process of how to hire someone to manage what that looks like in terms of how you should train them, and what you should have them sign in terms of NDAs, et cetera, so that you feel comfortable outsourcing this role. We're going to have coaching calls so that you can get on and ask your questions. Boom, boom. This is not, meant to be long and drawn out. This should not be difficult to get set up. We're going to take you through the process in order to do that. The only reason you haven't set it up is because there's some things getting in your way, or you have it set up, but you kind of made it up as you went along and you're not fully optimized. So we're going to help you do that. We're going to have a Slack channel for everybody in the program. You got a question, we're going to answer it or make recommendations for you. So this is $375 a month, and it's for a 3-month duration. So you got to commit to the 3 months. It's not just a 1-month thing, because it's a quarterly challenge that we're running. Although we're going to do this first one a little bit more quickly and make really good use of your time because we started a little bit late in the quarter and we can do it. And then next quarter in Q4, we're going to have another revenue challenge for you. So my goal is every quarter, we're going to work on something that drives revenue for you. So you don't have to commit to for the rest of your life, but you do have to commit to the first challenge. So we'll give you the link to join in the show notes. You can grab it in the show notes. I don't have a short link for you. I need to do that. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about what is a virtual mailbox, who uses one, and what pain point are you solving? Are you ready? Okay. Other terms that are used to talk about virtual mailbox services, you might call it something different. Virtual business address, virtual office address, mail forwarding, virtual mailing address, an LLC address, temporary address, mail scanning, mailbox rental, a physical address, a permanent address, a business address, an alternate address. And that is courtesy of Anytime Mailbox and their website. So they are a referral partner, and we will explain what they do as part of the program. We will also have folks, we're going to do some special calls that our community managers and owners will get invited to for Q&A on CMRA updates and also understanding referral partners. Okay, what are some business reasons that people use virtual addresses? Professionalism, privacy, compliance and registration, receiving mail securely, having a local presence, and marketing. Okay, let's talk about privacy as an example. Okay, so if you are a business owner, you own a co-working space, so you have this all built in. But guess what? If you don't own a co-working space and you send out a newsletter to your customers, for example, or any communication through MailChimp or ActiveCampaign, guess what? You have to put in an address, and it has to be, it's required. You cannot send the email without an address. So and guess where that address appears? At the bottom of the email to every single recipient. So if you put in your home address, guess what? Everybody sees your home address. And guess what? They can Google it and see how much you paid for your house. So, or where you live. I mean, nobody wants that, right? You don't want that as a business owner. And so, if you're a business owner without a lease, you have no way to avoid using your home address unless you have a virtual mailbox and you have an address that you can use. So privacy is a big one, and even professionalism, right? You don't want to be sending out a newsletter that has a home address on it and it's clear it's a home address. That's kind of awkward. Compliance and registration. There are lots of states that require you to have a business address in order to register your business, either locally or statewide. So in order to get an LLC, and I don't have the number in front of me, but the number of new businesses formed, which means LLCs formed or filed, is incredible every single year. And so, again, it's a requirement in a lot of states or at the local level that you have an actual business address in order to get that registered. So I'm sneaking ahead a little bit, but one of the objections that folks tend to have about opening a mail program is they think they're just going to be inundated by physical mail that their team has to manage. And when you get to a certain volume, yes. So William Edmondson from iPostal, who's going to join us for some of these calls, his rule of thumb is that for every 100 customers, your team's going to spend about 30 minutes a day on mail. So it takes a while and a lot of revenue for this to become a real challenge for your team. Typically, you may have some atypical customers. And William also points out that it's probably actually your own members who take up your time with mail service, not the folks who are not local, right? If I just need an address to register my LLC, you're not going to get any mail for me except my LLC documents. So you're going to get mail a couple times a year. The volume is really, really low. The 80-20 rule absolutely applies here. 80% of your mail customers will get little to no mail. They just need to have the address, and some of them will get more. We had a virtual customer who, for whatever reason, didn't want to get packages at home, which we'll get into in a second. And I'm kind of jumping ahead here. But he had a sneaker thing, kind of like Geo, I guess. Geo like has a problem with the Cole Haan outlet. And he would send his sneaker boxes to the office, and he'd show up and, he'd always email and make sure they were there and he could come by and get them. So there will be people who actually get stuff delivered to the office that you actually have to store, but it's much lower volume than you think it will be. And the local presence and marketing is a very big deal. And we have very detailed training in our community manager program and as a part of this program that walks through how do you let your customers legally use your Google business address. There's a lot of requirements around that and a lot of things we want you to know in order to determine the risk and what makes sense for you. I should also mention that all of this content any training that we deliver as part of this program will be available as a private podcast. So you don't have to sit and watch a video. You can, absolutely. It'll be available in both formats, but you will have access to a private podcast so that you can listen on the go and get what you need and then take action. And the private podcast will show up right on your phone, just like this podcast does. It's miraculous. We do it for all of our paid programs. Okay. So who uses virtual mailboxes for business purposes? Small business owners, remote workers, solo entrepreneurs, consultancies. I mean, you name it. Lots of people have the reasons we talked about. Okay, who uses a virtual mailbox for personal reasons? People who are looking for deliverability. They just want to go paperless. They want unneeded mail to get shredded. They just don't want this stuff coming to their house. They want to get packages sent somewhere that's not their home address. They want security when they're traveling. Think about how folks who don't have kids in school travel a lot more today, right? Remote employees can work from wherever they want. I spend a lot of time not at home these days because I can. And lots of folks, if the whole family is gone or you're gone, but your roommates are gone, who knows? You don't want to have the mail show up while you're gone. And you can forward that you can put a hold on your mail, but then you're not actually getting mail while you're gone. And there may be things that you need to be able to receive. So if you have a virtual mailbox, they can hold it for you. And you should charge them for that. You should charge holding storage fees, which we'll get into in the program. So, who are these folks who use virtual mailboxes for personal reasons? Digital nomads, again, families that just don't want their home address out and about, college students, fresh graduates, military personnel, frequent travelers, hashtag van life, anybody who's moving around who doesn't have, like, college students is a great example, right? They have an address that probably changes every year, which can be a real pain. So if they have a virtual mailbox, then they're probably not getting packages, but any mail that they need to be received can go to one specific place. Or they might get something locally wherever they're going to school. And even if they move every year because they're getting, new housing, renting a new apartment, whatever, they have a consistent address. So lots of reasons, both personal and professional, why people are getting addresses. So this is happening, and the referral partners are running ads. So they're running ads to speak directly to these needs and these problems that need to be solved for these customers. So that is happening. The demand is out there, and the referral partners are connecting the dots for folks who need virtual addresses. So those referral partners, though, and even folks who are local. So again, I should be super clear. Virtual customers might live nearby, and they might also not live nearby. So there's lots of reasons why someone locally might need a professional business address and might show up to pick up mail, or might live locally but still never actually get mail and never come to your space. Or they might come to your space if you sell them a bundled package that includes meeting room hours and that kind of thing, which we'll get into in the program. Or they might live in another state and you might never see them, or you might only see them when they come in town for business. So there's just a lot of different reasons why someone might need a local address, and they might live nearby or they might not. So, okay, hopefully this is helpful in terms of sort of setting the stage around why the heck people use virtual mailboxes. And if you still maybe don't believe that this is like a real thing that's actually happening for co-working spaces, we are going to, in either the next or the next two episodes, share a how I did this session that we recorded some time ago with several operators who are doing extremely well with their mail programs. And they talk through some of the things that they do to optimize and the success that they're having. And I think it's going to be really motivating for you as a way to add revenue to your business. But we're also going to talk about how much revenue you can add. And I'm going to walk through a little mini financial scenario so that you can give it some thought and see if it makes sense to add that revenue to your business. So we'll see you in the next episode.